Hey, Stacy, I'm here.
Yes, I just made you co-host.
Perfect. Let me see. I can go and share screens. I've got that ability. Let me share a screen really fast. Let's see if you can see a HomeBot screen.
Yep,
Yes.
yep, I see it.
And let me see if I change the screen, you can see everything on here, correct?
I see the HomeBot screen with the 900 and 1000.
Okay, so you don't see this. All right, so it looks like I will have to stop sharing to share other screens. All right, that's what I need to know. Let me see, advanced. Okay, all right, that makes sense. So it's interesting in a Zoom meeting, you can't share like your screen, you share like a browser or a file. So if I hop between one and the other, I have to stop sharing and reshare, stop sharing and resharing. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Tony, you could get started whenever you're ready.
Beautiful. Thank you. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on an overview of the HomeBot. And really, the goal here is how to find listings within your customer database currently. So I'm going to share my screen, and the first thing I want to do is show you an overview of a survey that we had done with a company. And in this instance, what we had done was we had brought on a group of offices, and they wanted a trial run of the HomeBot system. So we said, great, give us 25 agents. We want to make sure they upload a minimum of 25 people in the system, and we want to track what's going on. So Sally was one of those agents. She uploaded 25 people. Brian, who was one of our clients, what happened to be on 198th Street. And what we noticed quickly is that Brian, once Brian was uploaded on 1113 within the HomeBot system, he received his report, and we'll show you what a report looks like in just a minute. But received his report, and immediately the next day he opened it. And not only opened it, but he clicked around the report. And one of the unique things about the HomeBot system is that we give you the data to show you what your customers are actually doing within the report. Now, the beautiful thing about HomeBot is it has an open rate between 60 and 70% among consumers. So we know consumers love it. We know they're clicking around in it. And a perfect example is what Brian has done here. He clicked open, viewed his report, viewed the buyer report, took a look at the market and where it was, opened up the buyer's marketing report and viewed it. No big deal, was in here about all of 2 minutes. Closed it out, but a couple of days later came back in and again started looking at the marketing reports in relationship to the buyer views. Now this becomes important because we know from the data we're receiving at the HomeBot side of things that when a customer starts to click around in these kinds of arenas, especially when we're looking at the buyer's viewing side of things, that means there's probably a buying or selling decision in the not too distant future. He was in here again for not too long, 2 or 3 minutes, closed it out, again, opened it again and viewed 3 more events. Now, mind you, he's only looked at 1 report. He's only received 1. HomeBot's going to send a report every 30 days to that consumer. And so the second report went out on the 19th. He opened it up on a Saturday, took a look around, again, viewed that market data. And on 1/17 of the new year, Brian again opened it. And we know in talking and going back, this property was actually listed on 3/30 of 2001. Now, what's more important is we actually went back to the broker as well as the client and wanted to find out some information about what was really going on. We got permission from Sally, and Brian was more than cooperative with us. And what we discovered was this was an investment property for Brian. And so he was pretty happy, but he was looking to upgrade the property. And it just so happens that his renters gave him notice on 12/1, which means they were moving out on the 1st. It was a great opportunity. The HomeBot report happened to land at the right time, showed him the information he wanted, and then in turn got his wheels thinking about trading out that property, doing a 1031 exchange and upgrading into a bigger property and letting this property go. And as a result of Sally giving the property, putting out the HomeBot report, guess what? She not only received the listing, she got the purchase on the other side of this. So now that I've kind of given you an overview of the HomeBot side of the ballgame when it comes to the customer's view and what happens, let me show you what a HomeBot report actually looks like. This home is located in Morgan Hill, California, which is not too far from where you guys are located at. And the key element here is talking about branding you as the real estate expert within the community. Bear in mind, we have your logo up in front and center, your pictures front and center in this report. And you'll notice that Venetia Way was the property I originally started with. However, a couple of days later, all these other properties were added. And of course, this consumer added them using this button. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, what's going on? What are these properties? Oh, my brother, my sister, and my rental property. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, God, I've known you 10 years and I didn't realize you had a rental property. And so again, HomeBot provides you with that insight, that information. You may not necessarily know everything about the consumer. The consumer is going to give you that information through the HomeBot system. Scrolling down to the report itself, we come up with a value of 901, but we do allow within the HomeBot system not only the consumer to challenge the value, but you as the real estate expert to be the ultimate decider on what that value is. And I'll show you how that works in just a minute. But the consumer can click on this and say, hey, I think my value is higher. I'm going to leave the report, this one alone. I don't want to change the value here. But they'll click the continue button, and then the system's going to ask a series of questions like, how many bedrooms do you have? Do you still have 2 bathrooms? Again, we're pulling all this data from public record. Is the square footage still the same? And if not, what else have you done to the property? Now, the minute this consumer clicked on the continue button, you're going to receive this. Let me find my text message here. This text message, which is going to say, hey, HomeBot here, Margie Anderson's requesting a CMA of you. It's your first indication that consumers concerned about value and a perfect opportunity to pick up the phone, look at the report, pick up the phone and reach out to the consumer, find out what's going on in their world. It's that interaction you're after in relationship to that. Coming back to the HomeBot report, I'm going to go hit the back button and come back to the main report. Now, we also match up the mortgages with the properties themselves. So you'll notice that this property was purchased or refinanced back in March of 2016, 3875, not a bad rate, probably could do better today. And you'll notice the current balance is 190,000. How do we know that? Well, we're just doing the math. We're just saying, hey, if this consumer has paid their mortgage on time, and we're assuming they have, then this is where the mortgage should be. Now, all the blue buttons you see on the screen are designed for customer interactions. And so I'm actually shocked and amazed at how many times I get a notification telling me that somebody's updated their loan balance. And why? Well, you come across a lot of money and all of a sudden you decide to pay down that mortgage. And the reason they actually do that is back in the main report. If I click back here into the main report, we come into the net worth number and the calculation of that. And guess what? That loan balance number comes into play. So if I paid $50,000 off on my loan, no one's going to know that unless I'd let HomeBot know that. And as a result of that, they're going to have an accurate number of what the net worth is. Now, just above this is what the market demand looks like. And we do go into the market demand and we provide some opportunities for the consumer to realize why it's a great time to list their properties. And this is those key factors. And here are 3 motivating factors. Appreciation's been 3%. You've got a huge amount of equity inside of here, almost 710,000. And the competition is extremely high right now. And not only that, but inventory is really low. And it'll show you the average bedrooms, bathrooms, and so on. But if you take a look around the price range of this particular house, you'll notice the graph shows that this property has been on fire and is definitely in the seller's advantage to move this property if they so decided to get this property listed. And it's amazing what these reports actually start to let consumers realize. Example, my mom lives down in California and I hooked her up on a HomeBot report and she's been in her house for 20 years, no thought of moving anywhere. But after seeing a HomeBot report for the last 6 months, she called me out of the blue and said, I think it's time to either rent or sell. And it's something I never thought would have happened, but literally because the HomeBot report is cluing them into what's going on in that marketplace, it's opening her eyes to the opportunities she has available to her. As we scroll down the HomeBot report, we start talking about things that are important. Now, HomeBot's geared towards 2 things. Number 1, building wealth, showing the consumer how to build wealth with the largest asset they have, which is their home. Secondly, it's designed to help them save money with their home in a variety of different ways, and we'll show you some of those. So an example, saving money, maybe it's time to do that refinance. There's some money to be saved here. Maybe it's time to upgrade. Maybe Johnny is getting ready to go to high school and there's a high school 3 districts over and it's just time to move into that bigger home that we want. Or maybe it's just time to pull some cash and put it on the sidelines. Now, as we scroll down, we give that customer the idea where they are in their current mortgage, paid $21,000 towards principal, $39,000 towards interest. And of course, interest will add up, $146,000 if they paid this loan on time for its full 30 years, which is kind of eye-opening to most consumers. Scrolling down into the next section, we talk about where they are in their mortgage. And this is pretty interactive in that, hey, I'm only going to be in my house 5 more years. All these numbers will change. Of course, all the 5-year, 7-year, 10-year products are all available at this point in the ballgame. But if I were to say, no, I'm going to be here 20 years, all of a sudden those ARM products go orange because they can't last the term. And again, provide that information in relationship to where the rates are. Now we go out to Fannie and Freddie every day, pull those rates, add a tenth to them to give the consumer an idea of where the current market is. As I scroll down to our next section, this is quite a popular section saying, hey, what if I just paid an extra $250 to the mortgage? Well, I'll save $34,000 and pay off the house 7 years earlier. God, I could actually do $350. Well, that's $42,000 and 9 years earlier. So we see consumers playing here a lot. Again, Homebot is tracking all of this from the consumer perspective, giving you, the real estate agent, that insight as to what they're doing in the system itself. As I scroll down to the next section, this is where I call the planting seed section. We really start to give that consumer an idea of other things and building wealth with the equity they currently have in their current home. So for an example, maybe it's time to buy that investment property. Maybe it's time to buy a rental property or another property, or maybe it's just time to purchase that new home. Johnny's getting ready to head off to high school. Again, like we talked about, want to go 2 districts over. Let's take a look at the investment property side of this. As we look at the investment property, we give that consumer a basic outline of things to think about. Don't want to give them everything. We want them to refer to you as the expert for that. But in this arena, we're talking about, hey, got to pull out $440,000 of equity and use it as a 30% down payment on a $1.47 million property. Now, we're not saying you have to buy a 1.47. We're saying you're capable of buying a 1.47. Bear in mind, the new mortgage on the new property is going to be about $4,800. May want to talk to a tax consultant about deductions. May want to look at that rental income, making sure you're covering not only the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and other expenses you may have. And lastly, consider a landlord or property management company. And of course, on all these screens, you are just a click away. Any one of these items that they click on will send you a text directly, which tells you your consumer is looking and needing information from you immediately. Now, as I hit the back button, we're going to look through the rest of the report and scroll down. The other way we kind of look at building equity is really saving money in a variety of different ways. So maybe it's time to look at if we have student loans to pay those down. Maybe it's time to eliminate some credit card debt. Maybe add some solar panels and off shift the electrical bill in relationship to paying for those solar panels. Or maybe doing some home improvements. Now in the home improvement arena, you'll notice it's in orange. And the reason for that has to do with the fact that there are better home improvement projects to do than others. So we talk and educate the consumer from this perspective. We talk about curbside appeal, minor kitchen remodel, universal bathrooms, and so on. However, may want to stay away from that swimming pool, backyard patio, or gourmet kitchen. And of course, on average, 56 cents on the dollar is recouped. And the source button actually takes them to this site, which is a national remodeling site that's pretty well broken out. You can get very specific. For an example, your costs in San Jose will be different than San Francisco and then Portland, and this will create a PDF document for your consumer. But on average, they kind of give you on the Pacific Northwest side or the Pacific side of the ballgame, they show you, what the highest items are in relationship to job costing, resale value, and recoup rate. Of course, if you want to look specifically, you'll want to print one of these PDF documents. Heading back to the Homebot report, and let's go back out. The last section we have, and we're probably one of the only reports that actually provides this, is we are connected with Airbnb and VRBO, and we will provide you with basic data relating to that specific address and that zip code from their database, looking at what your either the monthly revenue, the nightly rates, or the number of nights. And of course, depending on whether your property is fancy and how many nights you're going to be renting it for will depend on revenue that's being generated as a result. And all of this is provided in the Homebot report that you can provide to your consumers on a monthly basis with no effort on your part other than simply entering the data into the system. Now, that's a pretty complete report that goes out on a monthly basis. I'm going to go and switch gears now, and I'm going to actually scroll back to the top, and we're going to go back into the back side of the Homebot system. I want to show you some tools that are available that will help you from the perspective of either generating leads and lead generation from the Homebot system. Any questions out there while we're loading? All right, let's get back to clients and let's get back into the back side of the system. Now, Homebot does come with what we call a landing page, and let me show you what that looks like. This is your personal landing page, and this is where you start to generate leads as a result. Now, this landing page can be used a variety of different ways. Number one, you can use this in any social media platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, whichever you prefer. There is a link you'll simply copy and paste. Once you do that, the graphic comes over and provide the call to action you want, and voila. And this is pretty interactive, meaning that all they have to do is type in a number. I'm typing in random numbers. What it should do is give me an address. And once they've typed in their address, it'll generate a report in as little as 3 seconds. Now, the key element is that we don't show them the entire report. We actually lock out pieces of the report so that we are going to capture their email address, first name and last name. They're opting into the receiving the report from you. And then from that perspective forward, they receive that report on a monthly basis. I'm going to head back over to the admin screen. Oh, looks like we didn't load here. Let me try this again. Well, for some reason, my internet is extremely slow. Going to stop sharing for 1 second. I'm going to come off a VPN really fast. Bear with me for 1 minute. I think this will create. All right, here we go. That took care of that problem. Let me come back into here. My apologies, folks. All right, so we're in the backside of the Homebot system, and basically we're in clients and activity. Now, like I told you before, Homebot, I've got 112 people that are receiving a monthly report from me. I've got a 64% open rate, so we track exactly how many people open the report. But not only that, what I think is actually more important is the home viewed. 50% of the 112 people are not only opening the report, they're actually clicking around the report. And when they start to click around the report, we start to get these activities that are happening down here. Now, when you start to see this home market activity here, so Sarah opened this up a day ago and she started clicking around and clicked on this. When I start to see this kind of activity, it's time to pick up the phone and actually reach out. Homebot will actually provide you with this weekly call report. So what happens is once you've uploaded your customers into the system, after 1 month, it'll give you your most active people within the system. This, in my mind, is your call list for the week. These are people you probably need to reach out and touch. One of the things Homebot really does for real estate agents is this. I really believe the analogy I want to give you guys is that a real estate agent is like a catcher in a baseball game. You guys are sitting behind home plate. You're ready and waiting, but you're waiting for your customer to walk up to home plate and actually throw you a ball. And so Homebot kind of turns that around in that rather than waiting for that customer to walk up to the plate and throw the ball, by them clicking around the report, it's giving you inklings as to who to reach out to every week and place those phone calls to. Perfect example of what I'm talking about was I had a real estate agent who signed up, had been using the system for about 2 months, and she says, I think I'm challenged here. I said, well, let me take a look at what you got. So we set up a webinar or a go-to-meeting, and I said, hey, let me see your screen. And so I brought her in, and I'll show you exactly what we did. I brought her into the contact section, the activity feed, and started looking around. I said, you know, this person here, because we're seeing this market activity, was in here a day ago and there was like 12 activities here. I said, that person is somebody you need to pick up the phone and reach out to. I said, paying attention to this is important. And so by looking at that and actually picking up the phone is how you start to generate that interaction. She goes, okay, so we got off the phone. 2 days later, I get an email from me. She says, you're not going to believe this. That customer you pointed out to me, I did not listen to you, but that person called me a day later. And she says, I have a listing appointment in 2 days. Wish me luck. And I'm like, my God, we just talked about this. So again, it's all about paying attention to the data that Homebot is providing you. Now, Homebot has a great amount of tools. Here you have your homeowners. These, I'd like to define homeowners as people that know you, love you, trust you. In other words, these are people you've uploaded into the system. You have their information, you've uploaded it. Homebot's going to provide that welcome letter automatically, letting them know that you've got providing this wealth of knowledge and wealth of the Homebot, what I like to call is the Homebot Wealth Management Report. Once they receive the letter, they're going to receive the Homebot Wealth Management Report on a monthly basis. Now, inside of here, remember we talked about that CMA that customer needed when we originally looked at? Well, this is where you would go as the real estate agent, come in here and look for John Buyer on Venetia Way. That was the property we were talking about. We'll pull that guy up. And inside of here is where you go down and you, as the real estate expert, can modify this value to anything you need to. Now, you guys are in Santa Clara County. Your market is crazy and on fire, meaning that, think about it, a house that gets listed today, or I should say gets sold today, was probably listed 30 or 60 days ago, because you guys are, that fast. But not only that, but it's also being sold for $50, $100, $150,000 over that asking price. And so if it were to close today, the likelihood of any automated system to be able to pick that up and incorporate that is going to be at least 30 or 60 days out, which means realistically, these systems are 4 months, at minimum 4 to 6 months off in relationship to values. And your values are changing so fast. But Homebot's one of those systems that allows you to make that change instantly. If this neighbor's house sold for $995 and you believe that this is a comparable house and could be $995, you as the real estate expert can come in here and make the house $995 and boom, it's done. Homebot from that point forward will adjust values up and or down based on the market data it's seeing. And of course, it's seeing market data that's up, so it's going to adjust it upward. So again, it gives you the ultimate control when it comes to the value of a house. Now let's head back into here. The other side of this is that it provides you with a lot of information. These are all sortable data fields. So I can sort by rate and say, hey, let's look at who has the best rate. Well, Tammy, congratulations, 2.5. Gregory Dunlop, 2.875. Awesome. But let's take a look at who has the worst rate. Dave, by the way, this is real data. This is not a demo site. This is real customers and real data. Dave, you're sitting at 8.9. Now I remember Dave got a divorce a few years ago, wanted to hang on to the house, was willing to pay anything. 8.9 was what he had to pay, but that was a few years ago. So I'm going to reach out to Dave and talk with him and say, hey, what's going on? Hadn't heard from you in a while. Hey, by the way, I remember, God, when we did all that, you got out of the divorce and everything, you had that crazy rate. You still, yeah, I'm still at 8.9. Oh my God, let me hook you up with Bob, my best lender. Now think about this for a minute. Bob's going to love you because no matter what rate Bob does, it's got to be better than 8.9. He gets him a 6. It's not great, but it's better than 8.9. But if he can get Dave into the 5s, 4s, or even 3s, my God, that's $1,000 swing in his budget. And Dave's going to think you walk on water because what real estate agent calls and saves him $1,000 a month, right? He's going to be talking you up all day long. But the scarier part, honestly, about this is look at all these rates. 6.5, 6.4, 6.666, 5.555. I've got 10 people in here that is easy. Pick up the phone, have a conversation. Let's see what's going on. Why haven't they refinanced or done anything with this? It's a great way to start. Now, we talked about that landing page, and here's the sharing page where you can pick up the landing page. So this is a copy of it. You simply copy this link and paste it anywhere you want, and it will bring in all the information, the visual, the whole 9 yards. And the cool thing about this is, for an example, you can put this in your email. bottom of your signature line saying, hey, if you'd like the HomeBot Wealth Management Report, click here. And that click here button takes them to the landing page where they're going to type in their address and receive a report instantly. Now, those people, let's head back over here to clients for a second. Those people are not homeowners. In other words, these are not necessarily people that know you, love you, and trust you. These could be people that have landed on something along those lines. And so they're considered leads, and leads end up over in this side. And this is where your lead generation happens. So again, sharing that landing page, maybe using it for an open house. I know we're not doing, we're not quite a full range of open houses yet, but for an example, when open houses come back and people start visiting open houses, one of those questions is in the greeting side of this is, asking them if they're homeowners, and if they are, offer the HomeBot Wealth Management Report to anybody that comes through the open house. It's a great way to pick up people. If you are receiving internet leads are, a dime a dozen and a diamond in the rough, right? You'll get that one that may close within 5 weeks or 8 weeks if you actually receiving it. But a vast majority of those leads are looky-loos and require you to stay in contact with them on a regular basis. Well, if they are homeowners, and the first thing I would ask is if they're homeowners, offer the HomeBot Wealth Management Report. Now you're dripping to them every month. They're receiving that HomeBot report from you. And as you know, internet leads are probably dealing with 3 and 5 different agents. This is going to start to separate you from the other agents. Along with the sharing side, we also have social already set up on Facebook. So we've got these 3 posts for you automatically. All you have to do is click the share button. It will copy the link over, create the call to action, and all you have to do is type in a little sentence or two and off and away and post it and start to share it among your friends. If it were me, I'd be rotating these on a weekly basis. And lastly, if you want this on your web page, we can put this widget there. This is the code that's required. Copy the code, send it off to whoever's designing your web page. They'll know what to do with it, and they'll embed this in your web page and make it available. Now, the HomeBot system costs only $25 a month, but because you've got a special partner in here relating to Fidelity MI, we're going to give you a 10% discount as a result. So now instead of $25 a month, we're talking $22.50 a month. And by the way, that's for up to 500 customers in the system. If you have more than that, not a problem. For an additional $9, you can add another 500. And for each grouping of 500, it's an additional $9 more. I've got some agents in Los Angeles that have like 8,000 and 9,000 people in the system. They're paying a lot, but they're also receiving a lot in relationship to leads and or transactions and closing as a result. And so that, for the most part, the last piece I want to show you is that if you're looking to farm, we are connected with Corfax. And so the Corfax postcard is a great way to take advantage of this. Now, this is the idea behind this. Let's say you want to farm a golf course over there. I know you can go to the title company, grab the data, and then you can probably send it off to a third party and get email addresses for that. And you could upload that into HomeBot and send it off. But I would discourage you from that. And the reason I say that is because those people don't know you and love you. They have no idea who you are. And as you think about the HomeBot report and how much data is there, although every piece of it is public, they don't necessarily know that. And so they're like, well, how do you know my loan balance? Well, it's public data, but based on a calculation. So I would encourage you, rather than to go that route, is to actually utilize the HomeBot postcards here. And what you can do is, decide what your call to action is in relationship, building wealth, building bigger assets, and beyond home value. Change colors, whatever you need to do. But now you can take the data from the title company, upload it into the Corfax system. They'll mail out these postcards for you. And at that point in the ball game, this QR code is your landing page. When they scan that, they're going to come to the landing page. They're going to type in their address. HomeBot's going to generate a report in as little as 3 seconds. And once it does that, of course, it's locked, right? They can't see it. So they're going to have to enter in their first name, last name, and email address in order to receive the report. And that becomes a lead. That's how you capture those leads. And now you're dripping to that consumer on a monthly basis. So that, folks, in a nutshell. By the way, there is no contract for HomeBot. There is no setup fee for HomeBot. It's a pretty straightforward bill as you go along. And we try and keep it as simple as possible. Anyone have any questions in regards to the HomeBot system?
I do. Who do we contact if we want to sign up for this?
I will, I believe Maya is going to send out an email with a link to it that you need to use this particular link in order to receive the discount. So we'll make sure it gets out to all of you, and feel free and reach out as well. I'll leave my information. Let me pop my information up on the screen so you guys have it. Let me go back to John Byer here.
Also, I don't have a clear understanding of the process in, I forgot the name of the Corfact. And are we working with them also and a title company to get our addresses?
Yeah, so your title company can provide you with that farm, right? You can go to them and say, hey, I want to farm this golf course or this neighborhood, however geographically you want to do it. From that point in the ball game, you take that data and you go to Corfax and you say, hey, I want to send out the HomeBot postcards. And they'll say, great, who do you want to send it to? And you upload the data. They're like, great, we got the data. They're going to say, oh, what's your URL for that for the HomeBot postcard, because they're going to ask the question, which is what this URL is right here. And that can be found within the HomeBot system under the admin side. Really easy to copy it. It's ready and available. And you're going to paste that over to over to the Corfax system. Once you do those two things, give them the data, give them the URL for your landing page, they will mail out those postcards for you automatically. I actually think, to be honest, rather than sending out just listed or just sold postcards, I would probably send out the HomeBot wealth management postcards, because you're giving those people a value and a wealth of what's available around them. And of course, it correlates to the home that you just listed and or sold next to them.
Okay, another question is how, do you have any sense of how well the public is aware of HomeBot?
I mean, we send out an example across the United States. We're sending out 1.7 million reports a month, which is a drop in the bucket compared to, the amount of consumers that are out there that own homes.
Okay, yeah, I just recently got a new farm, so I'll be able to do that and then contact Corfact.
Right,
So,
absolutely. And happily reach out to title. They'll help you with the Corfax side of the ballgame as well. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward.
okay, I'll just wait for Maha's email then for that discount.
So I've got a question in the chat that's asked, how is HomeBot different from Home IQ? Honestly, I don't know much about Home IQ, so I can't do a comparison. But what I can do is I do get a variety of reports. I get the Zillow report, the RPR report, all the other reports that are out there. And really, the biggest factor is from those reports is that when you look at those, they tell you what your home value is, and they compare your home to every other home around you. And you'll notice HomeBot doesn't do any of that. We tell you what your home value is. We allow you to dispute the value and allow the agent to correct it. And then we provide you with all the other kind of information to help you build wealth around it, giving you ideas and calls to action that allow the real estate agent to step in and help that consumer. And I think the call to actions are the biggest things that HomeBot separates itself from any other report that's out there.
I'd like to add one more thing too. I've put all my past clients on HomeBot, and I'm finding like 5 of them, they own 3-4 homes in different states. And I'm like, okay. So what I did, I just packed the CMA for each home in one binder, and I send it to them, and I send them a note. Hey, I can help you if you're thinking of selling any of those homes or need more information of those homes. I have access to my network in all those states that you have homes in it. So that's one thing that I benefit from it. And now I'm getting closer to them that they're saying what they have, which I never knew. I bought them something maybe 5-7 years ago. And then I picked up the phone and I talked to them. I'm like, yeah, but I think my New York condo is really going down. And I said, hold on it a little bit and I will connect you with the right person in the right time once you want to decide to do something. So all of a sudden they entered 2 more homes and I didn't know that they have 2 more homes in different states. So to me, they got closer, and it's kind of getting closer to the people that you have dealt with them 10 years ago or 5 years ago to keep them up. And another thing also, I've entered all the email and the contact information that I had from the leads that it came from Facebook. I entered the ones that I've had sitting in a piece of paper from open houses, and I'm getting like 3 of them. We can say out of maybe 20 names, I see 3 of them are looking like 6-7 times at the home value, and they're adjusting the loan and the mortgage. I'm like, okay, it's time to go knock on their door and just send them a CMA, introduce myself and leave a CMA at their door. And those people, I don't know if they're gonna remember me or not, but I've been sending postcards and it's not going anywhere. So that's how I'm using it right now. But it tells you, first of all, HomeBot, it's not going to junk. So that's what I like. And second, I get a notification whenever they look or make any changes. And then when I have time, I go through all the activities. Then I decide my game plan. So that's how I like it. I'm not sure about what Home IQ is doing, but HomeBot has been known for some time in the industry.
Maha, this is Virginia. I have a quick question since your clients are using it. What if they don't understand how to use the system? Is there any place within that system that they can reach out and contact someone?
Yes, they have videos. Tony, you have videos, right? How to use it on the website, and when
Yeah,
you
there are videos and all that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, if I can come back to this is the landing page, right? We talked about. Let me share this with you. Hang on, bear with me really quickly because I'm not sharing this.
Good to
So
know, Tony.
and
this
there
is
is
the
support too, right? You can click and ask.
right, there is. And so, you know, we talked about this. Let's see if this is working now because I got off the VPN. Yeah, there you go. So it shows literally all the addresses across the United States. So as they type more in, their property will show up here. Let's take Broadway in Oakland, California. HomeBot's going to generate a report in as little as 3 seconds, but in this case, it's going to want them to enter their information first before it shows it to them. In some cases, it won't. Let's go to, we did Oakland. Let's do, and see, there you go. So it shows you a value, but it's not going to show you any of the other pieces of the data until you enter in this information. So that's the lead capture side of things, right? Now in this page, this is not just a static page. It actually provides, and by the way, we're mobile ready. So if somebody decides to open it up on their mobile device, it scales accordingly to any device. It allows them to enter in their address in several places, talks about customer testimonials, and really talks about the idea of building wealth, saving money, building wealth faster. That's the whole goal behind what HomeBot's about.
Wow, this is really nice.
I mean, Corfact used to have like a code that you enter and put every information, but this one is more on everything financial. It can go drill as much as how much you would net, and is it time to buy something else or you want to sell. So that drills much more information for a homeowner than just Corfact would give you a map and will show you what's sold. And then also you have a way to change that CMA.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, I've been using, it was years ago, I used Corfact. I'm still getting the card to my own address. And what I'm seeing today is just so beyond what they could possibly do. So I'm so glad you brought this to us, Maha
Yeah.
and Tony.
Yeah, no, it's a great tool. I mean, really, I think it's one of the best tools that provides you with a really good in-depth view of your customer, and it tunes you in to when to reach out to the customer. That's the biggest thing. You know, for an example, the other analogy I like to give real estate agents is this: when you woke up today, and let's say you have a database of maybe 100 or 200 or 500 people in your sphere, as well as people that know you and love you, you have no idea which one of those people needs your attention today. And HomeBot actually starts to focus you in on, hey, these are the 5 or 7 people that are most active. These are the people you should reach out to.
It just make you plan differently for your business. And you know, I use all the captured name and email addresses from the ads. A lot of times they really own a house too. So I set them on HomeBot and I wait and see when they're gonna log in and you know.
So
So you
quick
can do.
question. So you don't need to enter an address, just the name and email?
No, you see, some of them you can go. So I do a little thing around it. Um, you can go, you have a title company access and you can put a name and search by owner. If you find they have something, just stick it there. They will
So
remember.
you need an address.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Tony, can you tell something about the buyers?
Yeah, so let me share a screen really fast here. Bear
There's
with me for a
something else
second.
for buyers without the address. I did not use it yet.
Like, will it find information? That's my question. If I just enter an email, because some systems will search the web kind of automatically, it'll find everything on that person.
No, so HomeBot's not, no, but what HomeBot, so here's what you got to realize. Once you have one property address for a customer and they love it, and then I think this report's a perfect example. I entered this report for this gentleman who was a friend of mine, and all of a sudden I've got these other properties that materialized out of the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
And of course, as they come up, I'm getting notification, oh, so-and-so just added this property, so-and-so just added this property. So I'm being notified as this happens. And then I come in and start to look and like, oh my God, they have 4 properties. Well, it opens my eyes because I thought they only had 1. So, and the customer's doing this on their own. They're telling you this because they're loving the HomeBot report so much. The first one you gave them, they want one on every single property they own.
Can you show them the buyer portion?
Yeah, so let me show. So in the buyer section,
I did not use it yet, though.
yeah, in order to get the buyer, so there's a buyer section here. In order to utilize this, you need to connect with a lender. So there are lenders that are using the HomeBot system, and what you could do is reach out to one of them and say, hey, I'd like to connect with you. And as a result of that, it opens up this entire buyer's window that provides, here's a short video that talks about it, but it really kind of shows the buyer, qualifying, how to qualify, calculating, guessing, taking a look at interest rates and how it affects higher rates, how it affects your purchase power, neighborhoods, and what's the hottest neighborhood, the fastest moving, the biggest appreciation, those kind of factors in its own HomeBot way. So it provides that buyer with a whole different scope of things. Now, when you connect with a lender, this does not mean that that lender has access to your entire database. What it does mean is that when one of your customers has a lending question, both you and the lender get the question. So the lender can respond and answer, and you staying informed as to what's going on.
Are you doing something new, Tony? Is there something new launching? I've seen some.
Well, we did, for an example, let me come back out of here. One of the newest pieces in the HomeBot report, and we keep updating. Let me go back to John and go into his report real fast. As you can see, the system's a lot faster now, which I'm glad to see. Nothing worse than it going slower than slow on a demo. Let's go into a preview report. We kind of included some of the buyer sections, and I think I talked about this in the market update. In this section here, all this section is new. So we're really trying to educate those consumers that own a home, the selling reasons. Because obviously right now, the key thing is listings, right? We do not have enough inventory. Matter of fact, I was on a demo a couple of days ago, and it was about MLS in the Danville area. And there were 41 properties for sale in Danville, which I thought was just astonishing because I'm like, oh my God, that is the lowest inventory I've ever seen out of the Danville area. And I'm familiar with that area. So I'm like, it's just crazy. So listings are the key elements. And so HomeBot is going to help you zero in on people that potentially are going to be listing and get you in front of them before anybody else. Of course, these are hopefully people that know you, love you, and trust you to start with. And not only that, but HomeBot wants to share the report as well. So there's a whole sharing component among consumers you're giving it to, where they'll share it with their friends and or family and start to generate leads as a result of that from people that know, referral basis from that perspective. And Homebot is constantly updating itself in relationship to newer components and newer elements that they like to see. Sometimes we see I see it for a day or two and then they pull it away. It was like a test to see how well the response was from that perspective. So Homebot's been around for about 5.5 years now, and I know it's not going anywhere. It's definitely one of the most unique reports that you can provide a consumer. And we know consumers love it because we have a less than a 2% cancellation rate.
I'm not sure if you guys done the, the guest book when you had an open house and you kept those neighbors. That's what I started to enter also in Homebot. And I'm finding that they own other properties as well. So those people just came to the open house to see their neighbor's house, how it's prepared and everything. And somehow I just kept them all. And during the sheltering, I started to enter them into an Excel sheet. And I started eventually, whenever I had time, I entered them into Homebot. And then I'm seeing actions right now. It was all dormant. Everything started to move more activities around January, I think after the election. And it's just getting more and more every day now. I'm getting a report like 4 or 5 people added different homes. And they had it going for maybe 4 months. I've had loaded
Now
them.
look, another way to think about this is that landing page, I think, is huge to you folks. Think about this. You're out and about meeting people all the time. You're out in a social environment, and invariably people are asking you, well, how's the market doing, blah, blah, blah. And you start to enter into that conversation. And that's your perfect opportunity to say to them, oh my God, I offer, if you'd be interested, are you a homeowner? First off, if they are, then it's like, oh, I offer all of my customers that Homebot wealth management report. Would you be interested? It's a yes, no question. If they say yes, then you give them a link to the landing page, let them register in, and voila, you've now providing them with a report with somebody you know. And the key thing about this, guys, is it drips to them every month. There is no effort on your part. It's just get them signed up. And if they don't like it, they'll unsubscribe themselves. Great. But if they like it, they'll continue to receive it and continue to receive it from you.
It's very easy when people connect to you and you know them and you talk to them even on Messenger, on Facebook, and say, how is the market? I go into the Messenger, said, market is great. Actually, I have invested in a new tool. Just shoot me your email address and I'm going to send you something. You'll monitor the value of your home. I've done that like for 4 people. They were just friends of Facebook. They like something or comment or something, and then I just go from the back door on Messenger, just more private, and ask them for their email address, and I just put them on. And those people I've never met before. They just look at my ads and stuff. So there is many ways to, to think out of the box. And then we need to do this right now because everybody is doing ads on Facebook. Everybody is doing farming like crazy right now. And I've done few of them and I'm keep getting sent back to sender. Please take me off the list. Please take me off the list. So another way around it, I started to look at the ones that I farm most of the time. And there's a way when you put the name of the person, you can scrape on the internet if you have the time to do it, and you will find an email address for them. That's another way. And then just put them in and see either they cancel Homebot or they keep it going. Because Homebot, I think when they get the first report or when you sign them in, they get a very nice professional introduction. Hey, this is Mahan, I've invested in that app. So most of them, they don't reject it. And it just keep dripping to them every month. Just think outside the box. And this is a good tool. We're almost there. You just send an email, or maybe Stacy can get the email of all the attendees, and we can just send you the link of Mai. You get a discount, and you can talk to Mai on different ways to do the business. She can help you too.
Yeah, she's a great resource to help you guys getting Corfax set up if you want to go that route, getting the data side of the ball game. Fantastic for all that stuff.
Yeah, and she can give you ideas depending on whatever questions you have. She just couldn't get today. Her son is sick. Anybody else? Is there any other questions?
Well, I want to thank you all for your time today. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to present Homebot to you. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll make sure you get a link and an email as a result with my contact information. If I can be of any resource to you, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, perfect. And we can cut it short today so everybody goes to their day.
Thank you. Thank you. This is Virginia. Thank you so much, both of you. This is like a technology I didn't even know about.
Yeah, something new.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you so much for attending. You have any
Thank you.
questions, I'll reach out to you by email.
Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks. Bye.